Well, would you look at that? It's broken. But it's outside. Got the first drive in. Didn't film anything because I wanted to verify everything was working. And it wasn't. But bumpers are done. Front bumper's all mounted. The intercooler hides pretty good, but it's still there. Rear bumper's good. Mounted pretty strong. Didn't have to do any cage work to blow the fuel tank. I probably still will for skid plate for down the road, but using another 3-piece front bumper turned out pretty good, and actually ended up narrowing it an inch and a half. So it's a little bit narrower than what it could be, but it turned out really well. So it's all 3/8 plate that held that on, and it helps hide this dent that's in the side of this thing that I didn't do. Came in the rig when I got it, but it's there. Adds character. I don't really want to cut that out. I think that'll stay. The rust definitely will get fixed. That's one of the next things once I get everything else finalized. And I've done some shorts, had some insulation done just to help cool it. Airbox is done. I didn't do a full video on that, but it's a custom airbox. It does a cowl draw, so that the hole in the firewall was actually used to be for the fresh air for the heater, and it actually pulls through the cowl here. So there's a lot of air that rolls off the windshield, comes through, goes into that box. There's actually a big cone filter inside of that, and a lid off the bottom. It's not even a lid. The bottom half drops off so I can get the filter in and out. And I have an elbow that loops through. But if you're looking at this and it looks like it's missing something, it is. So I have a big turbo to put back in it. And what happened is I was running this cheap Amazon oil line, -4, trusted it, didn't verify. I was super anxious on getting this thing running, and I didn't fully lubricate. No, I can't even say that. I didn't even pre-fill the turbos. I cranked the motor, I knew I had oil pressure. I was like, oh, the turbo should have oil. They didn't, so that kind of burned me. So there was no hole in the other part of the 90-degree fitting. So like this one's good. This turbo had oil. Turbo's missing because I have a new one to put on, but that's beside the point. The air horn wraps around, goes in the inlet of the turbo, and that's known as the compressor side. Well, with no oil in the turbo, it lost a lot of clearance in the bearings because the bearings washed out, and it started bouncing back and down and side to side, and just it bounced so hard, and when it was running at speed, it bounced off the sides of the compressor housing, and it broke the fins. And well, the charge pipe normally runs through and it goes into the face of this turbo. So it sent shrapnel into that and then ended up taking that turbo out as well. So this is the old compressor wheel for the GT3076. I was able just to get a billet wheel for that, and it's actually a full fin, so it doesn't have these half fins. So we'll see how that works compared to how this one was supposed to work, but I also didn't have a lot of drive time, so it's going to work better than how this thing worked with busted turbo killing the other turbo. But yeah, it broke all these fins, and they're all jagged, so it sent it through and through the charge pipe and went into the second turbo. And you can kind of see it. There is an enormous amount of shaft play. So I have a good, heavily used turbo that's got less than 5 miles on it, but it's wiped. So it's a good setup turbo. Same turbo size, so this is a T76, but like there's no shaft play in this one. So much cleaner, but you can see the difference. Like full vanes, broken vanes. So this one's going in tonight. I've already set it up for the push lock fittings that I run for the wastegates, or wastegate for that one. The other turbo is set up a little differently. If you're going to use cheap fittings, double check that everything is good. That's the whole point why I ran cheap turbos, plus I can't afford the big ones. Like this thing was as complicated, and there's as many parts as there were to build it, it just snowballed because I can't leave anything alone. So that's just how it goes. But my biggest thing, just double check your lines. So when I get the new one coming in and get the new turbo in, I am actually going to make sure they're both lubricated properly, has good oil pressure through the lines, and make sure the lines are properly working. Because like I don't want to do this again. So a cheap $20 line cost me 2 turbos. Luckily I could do a compressor on that one and the big turbo. But eBay turbos are great because that big turbo was $135, and so came in super clean, happy with it. Swapped all my fittings over, opened up the main feed fitting because it had too small of a feed hole, so that would have been an issue in the future. So I opened it up to 1/8 inch because it's a journal bearing turbo. They like to be flooded, so it's going to have all the oil it needs. But plus I run a -10 return on them, so they don't have a problem with returning oil. They just need to make sure they have oil to begin with. But I want to say thank you guys for watching. I know this one's short. I wanted to do a quick update. I really want to do a burnout video, do something more entertaining than just listening to me jab. But Cherokee's outside. A few more cosmetic things to fix before rust. Like, I wasn't super happy with this body line. Once it's finally sitting outside, I can see a bigger picture. So I'm going to put a 1/2 inch spacer in this front body mount. I set them too low. The front can't really go down because of how I have the cross member for the core support and all that set up. So that will get raised up to match and make sure all those body lines are good. There's with the actual intake elbow. So that fits right on the face of the big turbo. T4 flange, new gasket. I have a spacer on that. That's what it does. The elbow, gasket, spacer, then another gasket in the turbo. And I did that because I have to run, or I designed it with the compressor housing flipped and pointed down, but because of how close this stainless pipe was, it was too short and it was hitting, and I was going to either use a clearance or notch the stainless. And I was like, nah, I have a table, CNC table, so I cut that. And you can see that one bolt in there, and you can see that black strap. So that's actually the turbo mount. Both turbos mount off the cylinder head, so it doesn't keeps and helps from cracking all this stainless in the future. And it already got some color into it. So it's working. So I didn't blow up the motor, blow up a turbo because of me not checking things properly. So learn from me. Let me make the expense. You guys enjoy and have fun building and doing what you can. And doing what you want to do. This thing's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely ready for it to be ready and running because it's been a long 6 months. This started in December. Hopefully I can have it running by this next week and do a burnout for my birthday. That's the goal. So thanks for listening. If you made it to the end, awesome on you. Made it to the beginning, that's cool too. I have fun building these. I like sharing it with people, and I like filming, and I'm trying to get more into it. I know I need to do more long form. That's on me. But thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day, good rest of your night. Whenever you watch this, have a blessed one.